Well, today we have a very special guest with us to bring the message, honor to whom honor is due. And Bishop Van Buren and his wife Linda, why don't you stand up? And Ohio, if I had her up here, we wouldn't get out until 1 o'clock. She's just really excited. And we can be excited today because we have people that will lay down their lives for their friends. And to that, we pay honor and respect, not only to the fine servicemen, but to all the civil service workers that we have in our community. And today, I'm really happy and proud to introduce to you Bishop Marvin Van Buren from Crestline, Ohio. Would you please make a moment?
Praise the Lord. God's so good to us today. Today, honor whom honor is due. I want to honor your pastor. We attended what we're part of for years, a black organization years back, and they always start out their service that way. They give honor to God, and they give honor to their bishop, and they give honor to the pastors and the ministers, and they're real big on that. And I really appreciated what I learned from them when it comes to respecting one another and respecting the ministry and those that are in the ministry. In Romans chapter 13 and verse 7, which was read already this morning, but it tells us to give honor to whom honor is due. And just what is honor? You know, and how do we give that? You look it up in the dictionary, and it talks about that honor is the character of a person, the honesty of a person. A person is an honest person. He's a person you can trust and you can rely on. And you know, our founding fathers, when they wrote out their article of independence, their very last sentence is, "We pledge to one another not only our money, but our sacred honor, our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." They considered honor and integrity and honesty to be something sacred. And boy, hasn't we here in the United States of America lost that. And they think nothing of it anymore. But I believe with all my heart that God requires it of us. If you look at what it says in the book of Revelation about all glory and honor given to God, all glory and honor, over and over again, all glory and honor given to God. He's worthy of all honor. He's worthy of all glory. He's worthy of all praise. And we have a lot of men and women that died for us. Clear back when our forefathers first decided to make a nation. They gave their lives. If you would read the history of these men that made this promise, that signed this Declaration of Independence, a lot of their families were killed. A lot of them, when it was over, they were broke. They lost all their fortune. They lost everything they had. Some of them was put in prison. But they kept their word. They bound themselves together. That was their honor. And God looks happily and pleasingly upon people that understand what honor is and would desire to walk in honor and desire to give one another honor. Now, when I grew up as a young man, I knew nothing about honor. And it wasn't taught to me. It wasn't taught in my family. It was just everybody's for everybody, and look out for yourself and do unto them first before they do it unto you, and all these things, you know. And then I found myself in the military. I went into the Army, and I started learning some things. And I would have liked to stay in and made it a career, because I actually enjoyed it. But I was 17 years old and couldn't stay out of trouble. You imagine a 17-year-old in the military can't stay out of trouble? Well, that was me. And my brother was 3 years older than me, and he was in the Marine Corps. And I mentioned him today. How do I honor my brother? By mentioning his name. This is the way you honor people. My brother's still alive. He's 3 years older than me, but he fought in Vietnam. He saw some horrible, terrible things that he wouldn't even talk about when he came back home. I tried to get him to talk about it. He wouldn't talk about it. And then one day we was in a service out in Florida. I was preaching revival, a tent meeting in down in Fort Lauderdale, or I'm sorry, up on the Panhandle. What was that called? The Panhandle up there. We was in revival, and a bunch of airmen. There's an air base there, and an airman come down. They was in their uniform, and my brother's real quiet. He don't say anything, and he stood up and he come up front, and he stood there with tears in his eyes, the war had been over for 20 years, so these young men weren't in the war, but they were airmen. He says, I want to thank you guys for flying in and getting us out. They were taking fire so bad that so many of his friends and buddies were getting shot up and getting killed, and he thought that he would never survive that battle. And these airmen flew in with their planes and landed and got them boys out of there. And 20 years later, he's standing up giving honor to the Air Force. And these men wasn't even there, but it was that uniform that he saw. These Air Force men flew in there under fire and got them out of there. Yeah. Giving honor to one another. It doesn't matter if you're a Marine or an Army or a sailor. You give honor to one another because you're in there together. You're comrades. There's no division then. When they're shooting at you and all that stuff, there's no division. You're one. And I want to give honor at this time. I have a son. My oldest son just got back from Afghanistan. My grandson, which is his son, just got back from Afghanistan. My nephew, Chet, just got back from Afghanistan. Now, I want to give honor to Sergeant Marvin Van Buren, my son, Specialist Marvin Van Buren III, my grandson, and my nephew, First Sergeant Chet Suter. I want to give honor to him. They survived. Their unit got shot up over there. You remember when they burned the Koran and they threw a grenade in on that was my son's unit. 4 of his buddies got wounded real bad with that grenade, that shrapnel. And then some other of his friends got shot up. They put them up on the border up there, and they had to sleep on the ground. You don't hear this stuff. We had to sleep on the ground for weeks and eat out of a can and whatever he could get. And he told he was so sick he couldn't hardly go because of what they was going through. He was physically sick and he had diarrhea and couldn't get help. But he stuck it out. He joined the Army at 40 years old. He raised his kids and he said, Dad, he said, I've always wanted to go in the Army and serve my country and there's war over there. And he said, I want to go. And my wife says it's okay. So he joins up at 40 years old and joins the fight over there. And I want to give him honor and all those other young men that a lot of them aren't making it back. They're getting shot up, you know. And my son has got a whole different outlook on life now and things. You know, we live here in this country and we got it so good. We're not in danger of going out and getting shot at and blown up and stepping on a mine going down the street. We're not in danger of any of that stuff. But these men and women are. And the men and women that went into the 9/11, and I got some figures here. I wrote this down. It's absolutely staggering what happened. 2,996 total dead from that attack. 411 emergency workers died. 340 New York firemen died. 1 chaplain, 1 paramedic, 23 New York police officers died. 27 Port Authority police officers died. There was 115 people out of 150, I'm sorry, there was people out of 115 nations died that day on an attack against us in Iraq. And my son spent also a year over when he was in Iraq, but he was in another little country right next to Iraq over there. He spent a year guarding a port over there. 4,474 of our young boys died over there. In Afghanistan, 1,647 died, and my son and my daughter-in-law sent me a picture yesterday of the 3 boys standing here in the United States. And I haven't seen them. I'm going to see them next week, though. And when I get back, I'll see them on Wednesday. My oldest son will be home. And we need to give honor to whom honor is due, right? Give honor to whom honor is due.